Welcome to a highly technical and troubleshooting episode of the Brain Ladle Trivia Podcast. I am your tenacious host, Davo. With me, as always, my fellow yellow belt, that Titanic co-host, Kels.
Hello, everyone.
We have our sensei, the torturous, Neil.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a special announcement, a brand new member of the team. He's an oldie but a goodie, that toothsome member of the team. Toothsome.
Really, you ran out of teas that fast?
I did. Oh, man. It's a travesty and a tragedy how quickly I ran out of T words for Andy.
Thank you for inviting me to be a part of your team, guys. This is a thrill. Thank you.
Well, you have officially entered a theater of pain, because this is not an ordinary trivia show. No, you are entering the tournament as a white belt. The kumite is set. Sensei Neil, what are the rules?
The rules are every week we have a theme, and then there are 6 categories in that theme. Each category has 4 questions. Each question is worth 10 points each, maybe a few bonus points thrown in. Although I think I'm pretty light on bonuses this time. And then there's a final question that's worth up to 100 points, and we'll cover that one when we get to it.
Outstanding. Sensei, we are ready.
Today's theme, apparently, I'm the only one that was actually alive at the time, but 50 years ago was 1969. And every question this week is about the year 1969.
Yippee.
That's pretty exciting.
The youngest member of the team is really thrilled.
Yes. The member of the team born in the 80s says, oh my God.
I tried to take into account that none of us lived through most of this stuff. So, and technically I lived through 3 months of 1969. So I wasn't really paying attention to the news myself. So
it's all about those life experiences.
It is. So let's just try this and see how we do. I think you'll be surprised at how well you do, actually. Category 1 in 1969 is science. Question 1, physics. Yoichiro Nambu and Leonard Susskind made the first presentations of this theoretical framework, which supposes that instead of point-like particles, the quantum world is populated by one-dimensional objects.
I've never even heard of those two guys.
Just think Statler and Waldorf, but cooler. I'm
not sure if I understand the question.
Welcome to pain, white belt.
I wear suspenders.
I think you'll get it once you hear the answer.
I am locked in with an answer. I may have an inside track on this that you guys aren't aware of.
I'm locked in with something science-y.
Mm-hmm. Kels, are you locked in?
Oh, yeah, I locked in first.
Okay. All right, Kels, what's your answer?
All right, I just took a wild stab at it and said quantum theory.
Andy?
I still don't understand the question. I just went with dark matter because it sounds kind of cool. Like if I had a punk band, I might call it dark matter.
Oi.
Yeah.
Davo?
I went with string theory.
The correct answer is string theory. Strings are the one-dimensional objects that are hypothesized. It's actually a theory of gravity, but I didn't want to throw that in to confuse you too much.
Fun fact, Neil.
Yeah?
I know very little about science, but I had a roommate who was a physicist. So I paid attention.
Did you?
I did.
All the time?
So why don't you explain string theory to us briefly?
Man?
Please.
Why don't you explain it to us briefly, string theory?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I'm curious.
Since you paid so much attention to your roommate.
Right.
Yeah.
well, it was obviously invented by Hiroshi Sudoku and
That ain't it.
Stephen Sondheim. And strangely enough, it doesn't actually involve any strings. Because I've tried and it doesn't make sense.
You think maybe we should
So it's a misnomer.
should we just move on here?
I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Question 2, meteorology. Herbert Saffer and Bob Simpson developed a method of classifying wet weather phenomenon.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked
Did you have a
in.
roommate who was a meteorologist?
Yeah.
Dang it. Okay, I'm
She
locked
was a
in.
good friend of mine.
Dang it.
Andy, what was your guess?
It was Stormy Winters.
I I locked in with hurricane.
Devo?
Well, I put hurricane in parentheses, so I'd feel better about myself. But I locked in with tornadoes.
And Kels.
Ooh. Well, God bless the University of Miami and the Scorpions for rocking me like a hurricane.
Nice.
The correct answer, the Saffer-Simpson scale measures hurricane wind. So Kels and Andy both got it right.
All right, all right.
Dang it.
Question 3, computer science. This electrostatic digital printing device was invented at Xerox PARC Laboratory by Gary Starkweather. What is it better known as? Electrostatic
Electrostatic.
digital printing device.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in with something.
1969. I'm locked in.
Devo?
I went with the photocopier.
Okay. Kels?
I went a completely different route. I'm gonna feel stupid if I'm way off, but I went with the EKG machine.
Okay. And Andy?
I thought of the photocopier first, but I thought that was too early for the photocopier, and this is probably also equally ridiculous, but I went with the dot matrix printer.
Okay. Well, Andy, I would say you were probably the closest, but the photocopier had been created long before 69. They used similar techniques. Mr. Starkweather used similar techniques to create the first laser printer.
Oh.
Because it's electrostatic. It uses a little laser to basically draw on this metal drum, and then the toner attaches to the drum, and then the drum rolls over the paper and prints the image, and then it gets heated up to basically fuse it onto the paper.
Okay.
So part of it's similar to a photocopier, but it has much better resolution usually.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Dang it.
Question 4 in science is medicine. In May of 1969, a teenager in St. Louis known as Robert R. died of unknown causes. In 1984, it was determined that he was the first North American death due to what disease?
I'm locked in.
I have a notion for this as well.
I'm locked in.
am locked in as well.
All right, Kels, are you ready?
Yes. I guess AIDS.
Andy?
AIDS.
And Devo?
AIDS.
The correct answer is HIV/AIDS. 1969.
69?
Yeah.
Wow.
Probably, for some reason, they think it came here from Haiti. So it was in Haiti before here. I think they've tracked it back decades past that in Africa and maybe some other places. It's been around for a long time.
Right.
All right. Well, at the end of round 1, we have a 3-way tie at 20 points.
Ooh, anybody's game.
It's anybody's game. So I know you guys didn't like the fact that I left out sports last week, so I have a sports category this week.
Oh man, I'm even better with 60 sports.
Almost all of these are people that I know you've heard of, Kels.
Oh, thank goodness.
Question 1, football. What team beat the heavily favored Baltimore Colts in the Super Bowl after their quarterback guaranteed a victory? For a bonus, which Super Bowl was it? What Super Bowl number was it?
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
I'm locked in.
Andy, what's your guess?
It's a New York Jets.
Okay. Do you know which Super Bowl?
It would be Super Bowl III.
Okay. Davo?
The New York Jets and Super Bowl
And
III.
Kels.
The New York Jets Super Bowl trois.
That's
That's
three,
three.
right?
That's three. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep, I guess that was apparently, I hadn't heard that, but apparently you guys all had that. Must be common lore, huh?
It's
pretty legendary.
Guaranteed to win.
You know, I bet lots of people guarantee wins and don't win, and nobody ever hears from them again. It's just the one that happened to get it right that everybody says is a legendary thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Question 2 is baseball. We're gonna go back a little bit to 1963, when the manager of the Giants said of one of his pitchers, "We'll put a man on the moon before he gets a home run." Fast forward to July 20th of 1969, about an hour after the Apollo 11 landed on the moon, this Hall of Fame pitcher hit his first home run.
Wow. I don't know this.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'm locked in.
What?
With a guess.
What team was it again?
Whoops.
The Giants.
Oh. Okay. I think I got it. And I know this because I took a quiz recently and I got it wrong, but they told me what the answer was. I'm locked in.
I'm locked in as well.
Davo, what was your answer?
Well, I had no clue, so I put down a pitcher's name, and I said Whitey Ford.
Kels, what was your answer?
I went with Sir Gaylord Perry.
Andy?
I totally guessed Don Drysdale.
The correct answer is Gaylord Perry.
Nice.
There's some debate about whether or not he actually said it. I forget what the name of the manager was. He was a player turned manager. He only lasted at the Giants for a couple of years. No, I would remember that.
It's too coherent for Casey Stengel.
He supposedly said it to a reporter as they were watching warm up while Perry was trying to bat, and he just kind of slammed his pitcher. Question 3 in sports. In 1969, this heavyweight fighter beat Jerry Quarry on his way to winning the WBA title. A couple of years later, he faced Muhammad Ali in the fight of the century, which was the first time two undefeated heavyweights met for a title match.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in. I think.
Kels?
That would be the Pride of Philadelphia, Smoking Joe Frazier.
Andy?
Oh, crap.
Yeah, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm wrong, too.
Did y'all go with Sonny Liston?
I went with Sonny Liston.
Yeah, we both did.
It was the fight of the century part.
Right.
Yeah. The correct answer was Joe Frazier.
Well, there are so many fights of a century. You know, it's hard to keep track of. You have that one big
fight of the
century fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
That one stings.
This will probably be more up your alley, Andy. Andy, we're talking about women's tennis.
I get it. Okay.
In 1969, this female Australian tennis player won 3 of the 4 Grand Slam singles tournaments. By the time she retired, she won a total of 24 singles Grand Slams, a record 21 mixed doubles, and 19 women's doubles titles, 64 in total. So name the Australian tennis player, and for a bonus of 1 point each, name all 4 of the Grand Slam tournaments.
Well, I can get the bonus.
Okay.
I can. Oh, this is gonna hurt because
You have to name all 3
all 4.
or 4. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. All right. I'm locked in.
I'm locked in as well.
Okay, Andy, what's your guess?
It's Billie Jean King, but I can't name the tournaments. Wimbledon's one, I think. That's all I got.
Okay. Davo.
I thought her name was Margaret something. So the only it just kept popping into my head, Margaret Mead. I don't think that's correct. But the tournaments are the U.S. Open, Wimbledon, the French Open, and the Australian Open.
Okay, Kels.
Davo, you were really close,
I know.
but I believe it's Margaret Court. And 4 Grand Slams are French Open, U.S. Open, Wimbledon, and Australian Open.
I would tell you what the answer is, but Kels just did. So
All
her name is
right.
Margaret, and appropriately Court. Andy, I'll give you
I
1
got
point for
nothing.
that, and Davo
Okay.
gets 4 points.
I got hung up on the name Rod Laver, so I kept conflating. It was like he's Australian. It's got to be Rod Laver, but he's not a woman. It was just awful.
But
I knew
think,
Billie Jean King wasn't Australian, but that's all I could come up with.
I think I could be wrong, so don't quote me. But I think Rod Laver won all 4 of the Grand Slams in 1969.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's too bad that wasn't the question. You would have killed it.
Yeah, I really would have.
At the end of round 2, Kels has an impressive 66 points. Davo less impressive at 36, and Andy is pretty close at 33.
So you say I got a chance?
Well, I didn't say that.
Wow.
Wow. Never tell me the odds, Neil.
Category 3 in 1969 is television.
Oh.
The actor who played Darren Stevens on Bewitched resigned from the show in 1969 for health reasons and was replaced. Which Dick resigned and which Dick replaced him?
Wow.
I am locked in.
Really?
I am locked in as well.
You got to get the order right.
You guys are kidding me.
So you want the one who left first and the one who replaced him second, right?
Yeah.
All right. I hope I got these in the right.
Here's the thing, Andy. I know why Kels was able to lock in so fast, and I know why I was able to lock in so fast, because Bewitched came on TBS for a long time, and when you were sick home from school, you watched it. Right, Kels?
And even more so for me, I know I was supposed to be asleep. Ma, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but I was up. I was watching Nick at Night. It was Bewitched, and then I Dream a Genie would come on like right after that. So I watched both.
All right, I'm locked in with half an answer.
Half's not going to get you anything.
All right.
Well, you know what? If you get the right one in the right place, I'll give you half points. So if you know one of them and you tell me which one he is, then I'll give you credit for it.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, Davo, what did you come up with?
Dick York got sick and was replaced by Dick Sargent.
Okay, Kels?
I also went York to Sargent, but I feel a little iffy now because wasn't in Wayne's World? They were like Dick Sargent was replaced by Dick York, and they were like Sergeant York. This is Okay. I don't know. I went with York the Sergeant.
I never put that together before.
Wow.
Sergeant York.
I'm just putting it together, listening to you guys too. I had Dick York as my first guess, but I couldn't come up with Dick Sargent.
So you thought he was the original?
Dick York is the original one, I believe.
Yep, you're all more or less correct. It was Dick York replaced by Dick Sargent. And I had heard that York was having like prescription problems, but it was really he did have serious back problems. He was doing a Western, I think, with maybe Gary Cooper, and they were pushing one of those the hand carts on the railroad, those old timey things that you pump up and down.
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to like pull up on them. And at one point, the director yelled "cut," and one of the extras just for some reason grabbed the handle of that thing as Dick York was pulling it up, and it just ripped his back muscles out, and he never really recovered.
Oh God.
And
Oh God.
so he was in a lot of pain for a lot of the filming of Bewitched, and eventually he collapsed on set and just couldn't do it anymore. Then he went in the hospital, and that's when he started getting addicted to the painkillers. But he got off them after a while, but he just couldn't. His career was pretty much over at that point.
Oh, that's awful.
Oh man.
Believe it or not, I've actually ridden, and I'm not exaggerating here, probably hundreds of miles on one of those. They're called hand cars, is the technical name. And we had a restored one, and we would ride it on abandoned railroads just before they would pull up the tracks, so we could say we were like the last ones that used it. I think the longest one I was on is we took a trip with a hand car. It took 2 days from LaSalle, Illinois to Freeport, Illinois, which was a long couple days. I can see we could the whole you couldn't possibly if it's suggesting that the extra like tried to stop the handlebars. Or the bars that you're using to pump the car is what's called. You couldn't stop it. It wouldn't hurt you like that, but you could certainly hurt your back on one. And also, if you fall off one, I fell off one once. That really hurts. There's definitely ways you could get hurt bad on one of those. Those were designed before OSHA, for sure.
Oh yeah.
they're not particularly safe.
All right, question 2 in television. A controversial variety show was canceled mid-season in 1969 after multiple run-ins with the censors over the show's satires of racism, LBJ, and the Vietnam War. Which siblings created and starred on the show?
I'm locked in.
Damn, this is too early for In Living Color, right? Because I think siblings and satire, man. I think the Wayans, but I think this is well before that time.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in with a joke answer.
Okay, what's your junk answer?
I believe it was the Patty Duke show. She played her twin, so that would be the siblings you're looking for.
Kels. On the Patty Duke show, they were identical cousins, not siblings. Everybody knows that.
That doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
Wow.
But it's true.
It's the truth, and that is why Neil is the sensei, and you are but the learner.
Andy, what was your guess?
It's the Smothers Brothers, Tom and Dick Smothers, to be specific.
Okay. Davo?
Smothers Brothers, Tom and Dick.
Can I add a little trivia nugget?
Yeah.
Can I add, the Smothers Brothers also had music on their show, and that's actually one of the things that got them in trouble. They wanted to have a folk artist do a song called "The Big Muddy," which was an anti-Vietnam song. But one of the things that Smothers Brothers, kind of a landmark they left in rock history, is when the Who performed on their show, which I think it was their last show. I'm not sure. The Who was famous for wrecking their instruments after a set. And Keith Moon, their drummer, oh, by the way, Kels, the drummer of the Who, is Keith Moon.
I learned
Their drummer
once upon a time.
their drummer decided to load up the bass drum with explosives and set it off at the end of the set. And he did. And it's one of the main reasons why Pete Townsend is now almost deaf. Is that's when he originally hurt his eardrums, is the end of that set when Keith Moon blew up his drums.
There's actually video of that on YouTube. Well, I think what I read was he put some in, or someone put in some for practice for their rehearsal, and it didn't, either they didn't set it off or it didn't go off, and then the stagehand put one in for the actual show, and then Keith decided that he was going to make it a bigger explosion, so he put in another charge. So it was triple loaded, and no, they didn't realize that. It was a pretty big bang.
It was a big bang.
Actually, Keith Moon had a sliver of his cymbal sliced his arm open. You can see him in the clip.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
that.
if you watch that clip, you can see him kind of hold his arm and jump off the back of the drum riser.
Wow.
And do you know, Neil, was that the actual last show?
I'm not sure.
Or was it like a season ender? I know there was something about that show as kind of, we're going out with a bang kind of thing.
I'm not sure. All right. Question 3. So the Brady Bunch premiered in 1969. As the kids on this show aged, the producers decided to add a new young character whose name has come to refer to the practice of adding a cute young kid in an attempt to rescue a series from cancellation. What was this character's name?
Locked in.
Oh, wow.
I cannot remember his name.
I can't either.
Picture him?
Can I describe him for you? You see his face?
Oh,
I do.
I can see his face.
Blind kid.
Little munchkin kid.
With glasses.
Haired. Yeah.
Yep.
The little round glasses.
Yeah.
Kind of looked a little bit like
a miniature
John Denver.
John Denver.
Yeah. Looked a lot like John
All right.
Denver. That's true.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in as well with a joke answer.
Okay, Davo.
Squiggy.
And Kels.
I went with Cousin Oliver.
Andy.
Oh, man.
You know, I used logic for this, like Neil does, and I couldn't remember the character's name. And I thought to myself, what does a show do when they're desperately trying to get viewers, and it's like a last-ditch effort to try to get people to pay attention to them? They usually add a character named Andy. No, I wrote down Andy. I have no problem admitting it. I get it. It's all right.
Well, in this case, the correct answer is they pulled a Cousin Oliver.
Oh, thank goodness. Because if it was Andy, that'd be really embarrassing.
Question 4. Which sitcom couple got married in my hometown of Cocoa Beach, Florida in 1969?
Hey.
Can I get the question again?
Which sitcom couple got married in my hometown of Cocoa Beach, Florida in 1969? I'm talking about on the show, not the actors. I'm looking for the character names.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
Okay, Andy, what was your answer?
I was stumbling because I remember I kept thinking of I Dream of Jeannie again, and it was a similar series, and I always get those two kind of mixed up. But it's Bewitched, and I Samantha's the witch, and Darren is her husband.
Okay, Davo?
Well, I shamelessly took Andy's prodding of Genie, and I said Tony, Major Tony, and Genie from I Dream of Genie because he was in the space program.
Kels?
Yeah, I stuck with the Florida theme also, and I went with Jeannie and Major Nelson.
The correct answer is
now
Jeannie
I'm worried.
and Tony Nelson. They got married in an episode, and
Oh, but I thought, all right, but wasn't the premise of the show? Wait a minute. The premise of the show was Jeannie had to be a secret at all times. Jeannie had always. Who has a wife that has to hide in a bottle?
Tony Nelson, apparently.
Major Nelson has a wife that hides in a bottle.
Yeah, it's like a TARDIS in there.
They fell in love and got married.
Oh, I went with I Dream of Jeannie, and I thought, no, Jeannie was a secret the whole time. So
Such a white
I'm so
belt
mad
move.
at myself right now.
Except towards the end of the series when they needed to do something, and they had a marriage.
They had an.
Oh, did they
no,
have
they had an
children
Andy
on the show?
which was their marriage.
Oh, that's gonna stick.
Here's a trivia nugget for you. Remember Jeannie's bottle?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Her bottle
Yeah.
was a 1964 Jim Beam Choice Bourbon Christmas bottle.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a collector's edition
Really?
for Jim Beam.
Wow.
They I think in the first season they left it as kind of green glass, or maybe the first few episodes, but they eventually decorated it and made it kind of purple and more Asian looking
Yeah.
or Mid-Eastern looking. But the basic shape stayed the same, and it's the Jim Beam bottle. At halftime, our scores are Kels with 96, Davo with 66, and Andy with 48.
I like to keep a tradition.
Andy,
Cinderella story.
Yep,
Andy, this
coming
one's
out
your
of nowhere.
category. I guarantee you. I promise. More science.
Okay.
Trains.
No. Music. Music from 1969.
So, when you mentioned the category was 1969, it immediately got me thinking of, for some reason, music. And I'm glad we have a music category because I can think of a song titled 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins. I can think of a song titled 1989 by Fountains of Wayne.
Right?
And I can think of a song titled 1999 by Prince. But I could not think of a song that was 1969.
Brian
Are
Adams.
you kidding?
Summer of
Brian
69.
Adams.
Oh, the Summer of 69.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I thought that's where you were going with
Okay.
it the whole time. Yeah.
So did I.
No, I completely forgot about the Summer of 69. That's okay, cool.
Question 1 in music. What band played their final public performance on a London rooftop but was cut short by police after noise complaints by neighbors?
Locked in.
Of course.
This ain't right.
Final
Locked in.
public. Well, I'm going to lock in with this. I'm playing the system, not the actual question. Locked in.
I'm locked in.
Devo?
The Beatles, because Andy locked in 3 milliseconds.
I also went with the Beatles because London and Andy was super excited to say locked in.
Andy?
Yeah, it's the Beatles.
Yeah, you've got a bad trivia poker face, Andy.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's terrible. I have all the right cards.
I just realized if I would have just like acted like I had no idea, that would have thrown you guys.
They would have
Nonsense.
totally
I
said,
still
well,
would've
let's
guessed
not be the
Beatles.
Beatles.
I wouldn't have gotten this question at all if you had been a little cooler than jumping up and down.
I'm just
I'm
realizing
be totally
that's
honest.
why Neil Neil is the master of this game because he is brilliant with the poker face.
Utterly.
We just
I get
assumed
it
that
now.
he knew everything anyway, so there was no need in posturing.
I can see that.
He just had it. Yeah, I was gonna guess Beatles regardless.
Andy, help me out with the nugget here. It was their last public performance, but not their last concert, which was that in San Francisco?
Yeah, they actually stopped touring long before this concert.
Yeah.
Because once they got to about the Sgt. Pepper era, the equipment you used for concerts couldn't possibly replicate what they were doing in the studio. You know, today there'd be no problem, but in that period, once they started getting really creative, they realized they couldn't really play those songs live. And at the same time, ironically, both George Harrison and John Lennon were terrified by the prospect of being assassinated. They saw what happened in the United States with JFK and MLK and Robert or Bobby, and they really were getting paranoid. And when the whole issue they had with when John was misquoted by saying the Beatles were bigger than Jesus, and they started burning albums in the American South, they genuinely both did not want to tour anymore, partially for their safety, which is ironic because both their lives were cut short. John was assassinated, and George died of cancer, but that was accelerated by the assassination attempt at his house a year earlier.
That's kind of more than I was.
Way more information than you asked about.
Yeah, I was kind of getting at. What I was going to say was their last concert was earlier, but this was their last public performance, and they were doing it on a rooftop because it was a scene for a movie. Which movie was it? I forget.
The Stillborn Let It Be movie. They had decided they were going to make a movie of them recording this album. And what the movie really captured on film was them breaking up. And the film was never released. And actually, the album was not supposed to have been released. Lennon kind of went behind the backs of the other three to release it.
Well, there you go.
I've grown today.
People learn to not ask me about questions about the Beatles.
Question 2. This one sounds a little bit weird, but bear with me. Mr. Mojo Risen was arrested during a concert for exposing himself on stage. Who is Mr. Mojo Risen?
Locked in.
It's got to be Beatles, right? It's the Beatles, right? I'm locked in.
Sure, I'm locked in.
Okay, Kels, you sound pretty confident.
Yeah, beaming with confidence. I had no idea, so I just said a forgotten member of Parliament.
Andy?
The mothership left somebody behind?
Yeah. The name just really, it was too on the nose.
Okay.
Andy, what was
given
your
a group that had a member named Sir Nose. So.
For people that know me, this is the exact opposite of the Beatles. This is one of the bands I like the least. It's Jim Morrison of the Doors.
Davo.
Jim Morrison.
Mr. Mojo Risen is an anagram for Jim Morrison.
Oh, that's right.
That's why he kind of refers to himself as Mr. Mojo. I mean, he's not really talking about himself, but it's kind of the chorus of one of the songs. I forget which one. Question 3 in music. This Happy Together band played a concert at the White House because they were the favorite band of Tricia Nixon. They were very stoned and claimed that they did lines of coke on the desk in the Lincoln bedroom, which is probably the reason the lead singer fell off the stage multiple times. Which band was this?
Locked in.
I'm locked in.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Don't get too caught up in the story, Davo.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly blanking on the name of the band. Oh man, I'm gonna have to. I'm locked in.
Andy?
Imagine Me and You, I Do, Happy Together by the Turtles.
Ava?
I wrote down the old Gregs.
Yeah. Kels?
Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, the Turtles.
Well, you're lucky I wasn't asking for the members of the band because that was incorrect, but it was the Turtles.
Neil, I got to say, I've never heard that story you just shared. I've always thought of them. I mean, I knew they were a bit of a psychedelic band, but I always thought they were aired on the side of good kids. I didn't know about the coke on the desk or any of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. I mean, there's more to it too. The singer, I forget his name. He Lyndon Johnson's daughter was there, I think, and he started hitting on her, but he got separated from her very quickly.
Oh. Well, by the Secret Service, I would imagine.
Probably a good idea.
I don't see that going over well.
All right. Question 4. In 1969, Johnny Cash released the second of his 2 live prison albums. Which 2 prisons did he record live albums in?
Locked In.
I'll give you 5 points each.
Also locked in.
I'm locked in as well.
Okay. Davo?
Folsom Prison and San Quentin.
Kels?
They make everybody drink out of 10 cups in this place. No, Folsom and San Quentin.
And Andy? Do I even need to ask?
It's Folsom and Sam Quentin in that order. I've always been curious. I have both albums, and he starts with the whole tin cup thing. And did they genuinely bring him a tin cup on the stage, or was that a thing?
I think either he like had it already, like they gave him one and he had it already.
Okay.
Like nobody like brought it to him during the show. I don't think so. Well, except for the San Quentin one, I think somebody does bring him water.
Okay.
And like it's in a tin cup.
Yeah.
Because he asked for water like before. Was it Folsom Prison Blues? I think so. Yeah.
Does he open with Folsom? Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad we got that cleared up. At the end,
It's important, Neil. These are the things that keep me awake at night.
At the end of round 4, we've got Kels with 126, Davo with 96, and Andy still a close third with 88.
Really made a leap forward there, Andy.
As I suspected, Andy was perfect in that round.
And genuinely, this is, if you had to pick a year in music, this probably was one of the best years to choose for me as well. Admittedly, if you would have done 99, I probably would not have done as well.
Me neither.
I hear the
I just thought of
B.
Luftballoons, but so 99 would have been a bad year for me too.
Oh god.
Oh, now I'm free. Who did that?
Nina.
What was her name?
Nana.
No, thank you. Yes.
All right. Category 5 is movies. I was going to have our final question be like name the top 10 grossing movies of 1969, but that would have been absolutely impossible because some of them I never heard of. So I just took some of the ones that you guys are probably familiar with and made regular questions out of them. Starting with number 1.
Thank you.
Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was released in 1969. What was its theme song written for the movie by B.J. Thomas?
Oh god.
Locked In.
I feel betrayed because you said movies and it's a music question.
It's in the because it doesn't fit the movie.
It doesn't fit at all.
And,
in fact, the scene it's in is just feels like it's shoehorned into the movie.
It does not fit at all. It's like, well, it's on the soundtrack, so we got to put it in there.
Right.
Oh,
The scene where they're riding a bike.
I'm not saying any more clues.
Okay, I'm locked in because I have never seen the full movie.
What?
really?
This is one of my top
know.
10 favorite movies of all time.
I've never
You
seen the whole
can't
movie.
swim, Davo. The fall will kill you. It's one of the greatest lines in cinema history.
David, what's your answer?
I wrote down Hungry Like the Wolf
Excellent choice.
since I've never seen the movie.
All right, Kels.
Did not see that coming.
Okay, I just want to preface this with I hope it's not what I was going to write, which was bicycle built for two. I went with raindrops keep falling on my head.
Hey, Andy.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Oh, thank God, Andy got it.
Correct answer is raindrops keep falling on my head.
That song doesn't sound like it belongs in any cowboy movie.
It doesn't.
Genuinely, Davo, you have to see this movie. It really is an extraordinarily entertaining movie. But suddenly, in the middle of this movie, and they're riding bicycles for no reason at all, and they play the
So
song
dumb.
in its entirety, and it makes
That's a long
no
song.
sense.
Oh man.
It
Okay.
does not. It is straight pace breaker.
Yeah,
It's surreal.
Consider it on my list.
Here's a nugget. The screenplay was The Sundance Kid and Butch Cassidy, which doesn't really seem to flow very well. But
No.
after I forget who was originally scheduled to play the Sundance Kid, but he wasn't able to for some reason. So then Paul Newman became the lead, and he got top billing in the movie title as well as on the poster.
Oh wow.
So that's why they switched it. So he was first.
I was
did
just
not know
looking up
that.
movie facts, and I saw that. I was like,
Yeah.
huh.
Do you remember who was
Must
originally
have
going to
been
be Sundance?
I have no idea.
I mean, someone you've heard of.
Listeners, if you could tweet that at us, Ladlebrain at Ladlebrain, let us know. We'd appreciate it.
Ladle Brain?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Question 2 in movies. A movie named The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes was released by Disney in 1969. The lead actor had signed a 10-year movie deal with Disney, and it's claimed that he was the studio's biggest star in the 70s. Who was this actor?
I am locked in.
I'm locked in. Because I believe this appeared on another show that we did.
I was going to say, this was an answer on another show. I got the answer right on the other show, and I can't come up with his name now. This is so making me mad.
We're gonna for those listeners out there. I don't remember the show number off the top of my head, but it was the Disney show.
Yes, and I got the answer right.
And I got it wrong.
did.
And that's how I know this.
He's in Guardians of the
Failure is a big
Galaxy.
teacher.
I wasn't there at that time, so that's why I didn't realize that we'd already done this question.
Yes,
Oh, no,
not
this
this question precisely.
But it's a similar question. Who appeared in more Disney
Yes.
shows? And I got the answer right. Now I
Yeah.
can't come up with his name. And he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. And
Which is a Disney movie.
I can tell you who he's married to. And son
Yeah,
of a...
it is a Disney movie. Came full circle.
This is delicious. By the way, this is a delicious moment.
Because I got it wrong. So
You did,
because
and you were not happy.
I had no idea that this was a thing.
Yeah.
And now I know. Failure is a great teacher.
This is killing me.
Softly.
No, there's no piano involved. It's right there. He's in... I can't... Yes. Wait a minute. Yes. Locked in.
Well, hope you pick Tango instead of Cash.
Do you know the dog's real name?
What?
Wasn't Tango and Cash about him and a dog? Or am I thinking of a different?
No, Tango and
You're thinking
No.
of Turner and Hooch.
I'm thinking Turner and Hooch. This one's a rough one, but I got it. I remember.
This is the rocky shores of the mind of Andy.
Okay, Andy, since you're so proud of yourself, give us your answer.
It's still Kurt Russell.
Okay, Davo
It is Kurt Russell.
and Kels
Kurt Russell.
is correct.
Wow. That one almost hurt. It's so frustrating when you can see their face, you can rattle off different films they're in, and you just can't come up with a name.
All right. Question 3. I think this one's going to be so easy for you guys that I decided to put a nice bonus in there for you.
Cool.
One of the most
Nice.
famous lines from the Best Picture winner Midnight Cowboy was unscripted when a taxi driver ran a red light. What was the line? And for the bonus, give me the real name of the character that said it, and you can also give me the nickname of the character that said it for additional bonus points.
Locked in, and I have a nugget to go with it.
Do you have both of the
So
bonuses too?
The
I'm locked in
bonus
as
was
well.
the bonus is the character's real name and his nickname.
Yeah.
Okay, not the actor.
No.
Damn it. Okay. Like that.
Okay.
Well, I'm locked in regardless.
So just to be clear, I'm looking for the line is the question, and then the nickname and real name of the character are the two bonuses. So Davo?
Well, the line is I'm walking here.
Okay.
And then character, I have Ratso Rizzo
Okay.
for the character. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Kels?
I'm walking here. And Ratso Rizzo.
And Andy?
It's Ratso Rizzo. He pounds twice on the cab, and he says, I'm walking here.
All right. Everybody is correct. You've got the quote correct. It was I'm walking here. And Ratso Rizzo, his full name was Enrique Salvatore Rizzo.
It's a lovely
So
name.
how many bonus points did we get?
So that's 12 points for everybody.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
Question 4. In 1969 movies, the only film for which John Wayne won an Oscar was released this year. What was it?
Locked in.
Ooh.
As the police
Oh, no.
apprehend him.
Oh.
Oh, no. Crap.
Got it. Oh,
No. I'm going to go with
all I
this
could
one
think of was the
instead.
character's name.
Going with this one instead. But, okay. I'm locked in.
Okay, Dave. What'd you come up with, Davo?
Well,
Wow.
like the character's Rooster Cogburn, and that character appeared in 2 movies, and I think I wrote down the wrong one, but I went with the Shootist.
Okay.
I never heard of that one. I also went with Rooster Cogburn as his Academy Award winning performance, but it was in True Grit.
And Andy.
I went with True Grit, and I did not know about the shooters as well.
Shootist.
The correct answer
Okay.
was True Grit. True Grit.
I thought it was the shootist, and it was okay. Never mind. Second guess myself, get all mixed up.
I have to admit, I hesitated because I thought True Grit was later for some reason.
Apparently,
I don't
he
know why,
hated
but I thought it was-
everything about that movie. He hated the director. He hated his co-star. He told after he won the Oscar, he told one of the other actors, I forget who, that they should have won it. He did not like that movie.
It was kind of like a lifetime achievement award for him, basically.
Yeah, I think that was kind of a gimme, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of like a makeup award for. It was his scent of a woman, I guess.
Very good way to put it.
Yeah, it's his scent of a woman.
Well,
he should have won like 3 in the 70s. That's all I'm saying.
It wasn't. We're not going to have the Al Pacino debate right now because it's a big one. But
fair enough.
The True Grit wasn't really a John Wayne style Western.
No, it wasn't.
Nah.
And
it's dark.
He really personified that kind of John Ford Western. He was the John Ford Western. And to be honored when he was in a lot of pain. He was suffering from cancer. He was older, and he was very disillusioned. He was a very politically conservative person, and he was very disillusioned by the rise of the counterculture. And to basically win a Lifetime Achievement Award for a somewhat counterculture movie has got to be kind of a slap in the face to him.
Yeah.
That's interesting analysis, Dava.
I like John Wayne.
Well, I'm looking at the scores here. There's been a change.
Yeah.
If I've done my math right, I've got Kels with 168. I've got Andy at 130, and I've got Davo at 118.
Let me check your math. Yes, your math is correct. My math was incorrect.
I didn't know you did math.
I apparently don't do it well.
Learned something new on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, for this last category, we're going to go a little bit darker. This category
darker than True Grit.
Well, I mean, you tell me. This category is all about deaths. People who died.
That's darker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question 1. William Henry Pratt died in February of 1969 in his native England. He was most famous for portraying monsters on the big screen, including Frankenstein's monster and the Mummy. What was his stage name?
I'm locked in.
Also locked in. I don't feel like this could be right. I'm probably way off. But
I am confused by that one too, but I'm locked in.
Okay, Kels?
I went with Boris Karloff.
Okay. Andy?
Boris Karloff, but I always thought that was his real name.
Davo?
Boris Karloff.
The correct answer was Boris Karloff. That was so. Here's the story. His brothers were both in the English Foreign Service, and he was afraid that he would bring shame on the family name and embarrassment to his brothers if he used his real name while he acted. And so he just kind of picked the name Boris Karloff and did all of his acting on it. And it turns out that after he got big and famous, his brothers loved to be associated with him. You know, they loved to have pictures taken with him and stuff like that. And he never legally changed his name. When he signed papers, he would sign it William Henry Pratt, a.k.a. Boris Karloff.
Huh.
That's cool.
All right. Question 2. Robert Kennedy had been assassinated in 1968. During the trial in the March of 1969, his killer admitted his guilt. What was the killer's name? You history folks there shouldn't have any problem with that.
Locked in.
It has this kind of weird rhythm to it. I got it. Locked in.
Andy?
Sirhan.
Davo?
Sirhan.
Kels?
Sirhan.
Correct answer is Sirhan. He actually initially he pled not guilty. He decided to change his plea, but the judge wouldn't let him. And so, as part of his defense, he was on the stand, and his attorney said, "Did you kill him?" And he said, "Yes, I did," with 20 years of malice and forethought.
Oh my god!
20 years?
I don't know. He was kind of crazy, but he did have notebooks.
Bonkers.
He did have notebooks where he was planning this thing out. It wasn't a spur of the moment thing.
Really?
And if you care, he's currently 74 years old and in a prison in San Diego.
He's still alive?
Yep.
God, I did not know that.
He was in San Quentin for a while.
He was relatively young when he did it. Then
Yeah, I suppose.
he was 24 when he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question three in deaths. The father of the Beat movement and author of On the Road died in October 1969. Who was he?
Locked in.
Locked in?
I'm locked in.
Okay, Davo?
Jack Kerouac.
Kels?
Oh. I've kind of misheard you. You said On the Road, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you say Cormac McCarthy?
Yeah, I went with McCarthy for The Road.
Oh.
That is so not the Beat generation. Oh my god.
I know. It didn't make sense.
You could ask me to repeat the question. Yeah, Andy?
I felt good about it. It didn't make sense, but I felt good.
Jack Kerouac.
Yeah. Quick answer was Jack Kerouac.
You know, Kels, the question that you answered, you were right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that makes me feel not much better, but I appreciate it.
I'm not laughing at you. It's just the thought of the utter depression that is Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah, nothing was beat about
it. You know, doing a beat poem, Daddy-O. It's just crazy.
If Viggo Mortensen stars in your work, it's usually not happy. So
no, it is not.
Question 4. Brian Jones was found dead in his swimming pool, probably due to overindulgence in drugs, a month after he had been fired from what rock band that he founded?
Locked in.
I'm locked in. Oh, shoot. I think I'm wrong. No, I'm not. I'm right. No.
Wow. It's like being in your head.
It is.
This is what it's like to be in Davo's head. I'm right. I'm wrong. I'm right.
I'm gonna ask a question. I'm locked in, but who are the guys that started the Beach Boys?
They're the Wilsons.
Was there Brian?
Yeah,
Wilson?
the Wilson brothers and how did I just lose his name? The one I don't like.
That other guy.
Mike Love.
Yes, thank you.
Kels, what was your answer?
I'm pretty sure there's a John Paul Jones, and I'm hoping there's some relation. So I said the Rolling Stones.
How did you what?
Almost.
Okay, that's
All right.
that's a really funny answer, but we'll tell you why in a minute. Andy?
Okay.
It's inexplicably the Rolling Stones from His Logic.
And David?
I wrote down the Beach Boys because I thought there was something ironic about him drowning.
No, that's not. That's legit. One of the Beach Boys did drown.
One of the
so
Beach
you're
Boys
on the right
drowned.
track.
But his name wasn't
Yes,
Brian
one of the
Jones.
Beach
Yeah, I
Boys,
just-
one of the founding members drowned.
It wasn't.
It wasn't Brian Jones.
Dang it.
And Kels, John Paul Jones was the bassist for Led Zeppelin.
For the
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And that's why that was so inexplicable.
wow. Yeah.
I could, and by the way, thank you, Neil. When he said John Paul Jones, I was so baffled. Like, that's not the Stones, but who is that? So thank you for solving that, Neil, because I couldn't come up with that.
I'm so glad I got those mixed up.
Which I believe 1969 is when Zeppelin was formed.
I'm
Pretty sure.
You may be right. I don't recall.
But anyway.
Anyway, indeed. So, hey, we're done with the regular part of the game. And our scores are as such. Kel still in the lead with 198. Andy in second place with 170. And Davo has 148.
Mathematically still alive.
Well, technically.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I was kind of struggling. I was really excited about this category. I thought it would be kind of a little bit different than some of the ones we've done before. And then I got to the final question where I'm trying to find a list of things for you guys to name. And, there's no way we could do movies. And like I said earlier, there's no way you could do most popular songs or any of that kind of stuff, because that's some of those people.
Yeah, we could.
Well, I don't know. There's
There's
some weird songs out there.
Yeah, we could.
However, I did kind of stick with the music theme. Again, I did not know Andy was going to be playing.
Come on.
There were a couple of big music festivals in 1969. One of them was Altamont, which was also called the Death of the 60s. That's the one where the Hells Angels were doing security, and they killed a guy, and it was kind of a big mess. It sounds like they were totally justified. I mean, this guy was on a lot of drugs and had a gun, and one of the Hells Angels stabbed him.
You can see a gun in the movie.
Yeah. But that's not the one we're talking about. We're talking about the big one, the Woodstock Music and Art Fair. There were 32 musical acts that played at Woodstock. I need you to name me any 10 of them. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to do it.
I'm locked in.
The 60s weren't really my decade.
We'll start with Davo.
I put Jimi Hendrix, Country Joe and the Fish, Santana, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Joan Baez. Then I started really flailing. The Turtles, because we talked about them on the show. The Monkees, because they're a band. And Janis Joplin, because it was there.
Oh, I want to say things.
I count.
You can say it
8.
later.
Are you only going to give me 8?
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I got. Yeah.
All right, Andy.
The Who. My favorite one that nobody ever remembers, Sha Na Na Na, was there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I liked them.
yeah, legit. They were there. Not to
Bowser.
correct Davo, this is splitting hairs. Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Neil Young was
You never
not
can
at
tell.
Woodstock. Wavy Gravy, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Arlo Guthrie, Richie Havens, who I think has the most beautiful set at Woodstock, Hendrix, the band, and Country Joe and the Fish.
And Kels.
All right. I said Jimi Hendrix, Bob Dylan, Led Zeppelin, The Doors, Joan Baez, The Rolling Stones, Joni Mitchell, Mamas and the Papas, Janis Joplin, and Simon and Garfunkel.
Kels, you named a lot of really popular 60s bands that were not at Woodstock. Some of them were.
Yeah, it really was uncanny.
Like I was thinking, okay, these are the ones that people will pick. But then you found like Mamas and the Papas and some of the others that I hadn't even didn't even put in the list. So all right. So I did some tallying here, and I have some final scores. Davo, you gave me 8 answers. 2 of them were incorrect. The turtles and the monkeys were not there.
Oh.
But Hendrix,
Yay.
Country Joe and the Fish. Country Joe, interestingly, did a solo show, and he did another show with the Fish. So that would have been 2 separate bands. Santana, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, Andy, Baez, and Joplin were all correct.
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute.
They were on tour. They did several festivals that year, and Neil Young was playing with them.
He was?
You know,
was...
even if I lose this, that moment is so satisfying.
Right. The conniption in the background we're hearing.
Yes, that is music to my ears.
Damn it!
Oh man!
I swear, I almost went with Joan Baez, and I was sure I was right with CSNN.
See, he's so hip to the lingo, he calls them CSNN. You hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Davo, that was 6 correct. That brings your total to 208.
Yay!
Andy, up until that, I was going to give you CSN,
but then I had to correct Davo and be a jerk.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I might have
That's
to.
fair.
I might.
That's fair.
Yeah. But you also answered Wavy Gravy, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is not a musical act. He was a comedian and MC, but he didn't sing. He wasn't a singer.
Technicality.
Wait a minute.
Technicality. Did he hum a few bars?
I didn't say people who sang. I said musical acts that played.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, he did. Oh.
This is delicious.
So I'm afraid I'm only going to be able to give you 80 points for that.
That's still a lot, though, Andy.
All right,
That's
I have to
still
do
a lot.
some research here for a minute. Hold on.
Okay, well,
hold on. Everything.
We'll put an asterisk by that right now and move on to Kels.
Anyway,
Andy,
that
brings Andy's total to 250.
Mm-hmm.
And Kels, you named some great bands like Dylan, Zeppelin, Doors, Stones, Joni Mitchell, the Mamas and the Papas, and Simon and Garfunkel, none of whom were at Woodstock.
Well,
You did get Hendrix, Joan Baez, and Janis Joplin.
So I got the J's. I got
You got-
Jimmy Joan and
You got the J's.
So that's 30 points total, which brings you to 228. And so now I think we have 3 yellow belts, unless Andy wants to protest enough that I take more points away from him.
No, you know what? Legitimately, I just looked it up, and Wavy Gravy does the famous breakfast in bed for 400,000. He does not sing a song. He gives the most famous quote to Woodstock, but he does not sing. And also, when I position myself as the expert, I cannot accept CS&N as a viable act. So you'd have to take 2 off of my score for that.
Okay. That's already done, and you still won.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I won my first one. All right.
3 yellow belts in the dojo.
Nice.
Congratulations, Andy.
Ooh. I genuinely thought I lost it with Wavy Gravy.
You had
were
enough
good.
of a lead. You were in good shape.
I mean,
Thank you guys for having me on board with the team. I'm really enjoying this.
if I was going to say, maybe Kels, you should probably watch the Woodstock movie. It'll give you a little enlightenment.
Help next time.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
I
some,
feel like
there's some damn good music on that movie.
I don't doubt it at all. I was looking it up while you were tallying, and I didn't know Slam the Family Stone played.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Andy,
Yeah.
do you remember who
Though,
do you remember who the last artist was?
it's Hendrix.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine and I used to always joke about the fact. I mean, on one of the albums, there's multiple Woodstock variation albums, but it almost feels like Hendrix is playing until every single person leaves. He has this extraordinarily long guitar solo at the end of the concert.
What does he play, like Hey Joe last?
No. Now I'm drawing a blank. Do you know, Neil? What the
Yeah.
last
Hey Joe.
song
Hey
is?
Joe was last.
It is Hey Joe. Okay.
And in the middle of there, he did his
and also
he did his famous Star Spangled Banner rendition
right.
towards the end.
And
Well, it looks
Kels,
like
with your musical interests, you would really enjoy the Richie Havens set.
Really?
To my mind, the Richie Havens set's the unremarked set of that show. It blows my mind every time I listen to it.
Was it more unremarked than John Sebastian or Tim Harden?
John Sebastian's set is often remarked. It saves his career.
I don't even know who either of those people are.
Oh, my God.
If you would like to hear more about every single act
keep
who was
going.
at Woodstock, feel free to shoot us a tweet at Ladlebrain specifically for Andy, and he will let us all know about the Woodstock movie, which Kels has to watch like I have to watch Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. We have our movie homework.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andy, for joining the team. We're really happy to have you.
Thank you for inviting me. This has always been a lot of fun with you guys.
Check us out on Facebook, Brain Ladle Productions. Check out our website. Please tweet at the new guy, at Ladlebrain. I'm not kidding. Please do it. He's going to love it. Check us out on Patreon. We do have a Patreon page. Thank you, Susan L. and others for being wonderful patrons. Shout out to Liz and Lexi and all of our big fans. Andy, do you have a shout out you'd like to give to us?
I want to give a shout out to Allison, who was supposed to be recording with us tonight, and she is very busy as a teacher and a new mom and my mentor, and she does amazing work, and she's just a little busy tonight. I hope she's back soon.
Old fans of the show, you continuous listeners will remember Allison. She's been on the show before. She was ultra mega pregnant then, and she's not now, which is why she's so busy and couldn't join us tonight. So, from everybody here at the Brain Ladle Trivia Podcast, this is Davo with Andy.
See you later, Ladle Brainers.
Kels.
If you gotta go to Smile.
And Neil.
Peace and love, man.
Very appropriate.
Signing off.
The preceding podcast was presented by Brain Ladle Productions. All rights reserved.